Have you guys seen the new Jib one that just came out from Edelkrone? It looks pretty freaking cool. I mean, how awesome would it be to have like a little miniature jib? Well, I've been looking at it and thinking how sweet it is, but I definitely just do not have $1,000 right now to spare in buying an entire another system. And that's just to get the jib part, not all of the motion controlled head and everything like that you need to really get it set up and going. So I was kind of thinking to myself, sitting here in my office thinking, what if I could just build my own? So I'm just gonna grab some parts and pieces from around my office and rig something up. Let's see what I can come up with. First thing I'm gonna grab is a tripod, and this one's just a little too small, so I'm gonna pull something out a little more heavy duty. All right, I have the Benro S8 tripod set up now. It's much more beefy and it should be able to handle the weight of this little makeshift jib. So the jib has to have a motorized and stabilized head to even compete with the jib one. So I'm gonna grab my gimbal and get this thing out of the ring and then just get it into a single grip configuration so that we can mount it on the tripod. I just remembered this gimbal is completely dead, so gotta pop out the batteries and do some quick charging on this bad boy before it can even work. But we'll keep building the whole thing. Gotta get this charged. So while those batteries are charging, what I need to do is get this gimbal to attach to the tripod. So I think what I'm gonna do is grab a long base plate and then see if I can put some clamps on it to actually hold the gimbal in place so that it'll stick straight out like this, kind of like a jib. And I've seen something like this done once before where someone was clamping their gimbal onto a tripod. So I think this should work. So I've got two clamps here and both of them have 1/4-20 threads on the back. And so I have 1/4-20 little adapters and I'm gonna put them on the tripod. So I'm gonna mount both of these clamps upright like this. See if you can see that. And then that way I'll be able to put the gimbal clamped right through that and slide it onto the tripod. And I'm using two clamps so that it can firmly hold the gimbal in place and not just have one and rock back and forth in between. Both the clamps combined should really give it some good stabilization. So now let's see if this thing will slide onto the tripod like it should. All right. There we go. Okay, so it's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but see, I'm gonna lock it in on top here, but you know what? The Feiyutech actually has a like extension tube that goes on this. So I'm gonna grab that, make this little jib a little bit longer. Ah, here we go. So get this attached to the bottom here, make this whole thing a little bit longer. Boom, look at that. Okay, so it's probably what? 2.5 foot jib. Not bad, not bad. So let's get it clamped onto this little contraption now. Look at that. It's already looking like a little jib. Nice. Pretty smooth too. That's cool. That's cool. So we'll have to see once this thing gets charged up. We gotta get those batteries going.
Charge faster.
So I don't want to put a ton of weight on the end of this. So I'm not going to put my Blackmagic 6K on this because I think it's just way too heavy to be putting out that far and trusting on this little 1/4-20 thread that's connecting these two. I'm actually going to use the Sony A7S, get it out of the cage and put just a little bit of a lighter lens on there also, just because I am worried about the weight and the amount of pressure being put on this setup. Let's see. Maybe I should have balanced this before putting it on here. because it needs to go straight up and down while balancing. So I'm gonna take it back off temporarily to get it balanced. All right, we're learning here together. Never built this thing before. Literally just decided to build a jib on a random Wednesday night. Always put a battery in your gimbal before balancing it, because I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten. And then once I throw one in, it's completely off balance. Same with the SD card. We're gonna get this little jib put back together. The batteries have been charging for like 5 minutes. That should be enough power, right? Get a little bit of juice in there just to turn it on and see if it works. Fingers crossed, first time powering it on. See what we get. Oh, it's shaking like mad. It does not like that. The motor settings are too high, so I'm gonna change down, put them all the way down to their lowest setting. I think it was just too much power juicing into the motors. How far will this gimbal let me go before it completely flips upside down and freaks out? Still working. Okay, okay. Almost completely upside down. Oh, there we go, okay. Not bad, not bad. Full all the way up. Yeah. Okay. Ha! Take that, Edelkrone. Just made my own freaking jib with no money. We gotta get some test footage with this thing now. Show up to set, yeah, do you have a jib? Yeah, let me just put it together real quick. Check that out. Boom, get those panning shots. Low angle, boom, full up. So is it motorized? Can you program it with the app and get it to run like a little robot all by itself? No, but honestly, I prefer to do a lot of my camera work completely manually. I still use manual sliders, and I've actually had a lot of electronic sliders, but I get sick of using the app, and I'm just like, just let me put my hands on it and let me do it exactly the speed I want, point it where I want. I don't want to mess with all that app stuff, and it just gets annoying when I'm trying to move quick on set. So with this, yeah, there's no counterbalance or anything, but my arms, I got enough muscle to be the counterbalance for this, I'd say. I think honestly this could work with just about any single-handed grip, like the Ronin S, the Crane, Moza Air, all that kind of stuff should work perfectly fine with this. And if you don't have one of these extension rods, you could grip it directly to the gimbal itself on the grip. It just won't be as long of a throw. So you might be thinking, this is cool and all, Chad, but I can't see the back of my monitor when I'm doing these setups. How do I know if I'm in focus and if my framing is good? Well, let's add a monitor to this thing. So if you got a spare monitor sitting around, we're gonna actually try and mount it to the tripod itself so that it's always in the exact same spot. I'm gonna grab the Portkeys BM5, nice little 5-inch monitor I can easily use for this. And then I'm just gonna take a simple little ball head and screw it into the side of the tripod here. So now I can see everything that I'm doing right here on the monitor. And I can see really clearly my framing, if everything's in focus. I really like that. See if you guys can get a glimpse of the monitor here. If you really wanted to take this one step further, you could even add a follow focus to this, like the Nucleus Nano. I'm not gonna get the follow focus all set up right now, but you definitely see how you could add that to make this rig even that much cooler. Now, I think it goes without saying, obviously this is not the perfect setup or a replacement for a proper jib, but I think it does the job if you just want to get some cool jib shots and you want to do it without spending any extra money with just some parts and pieces laying around your office or studio. Guys, if you want to see more random rig builds like this, hit subscribe right now because I have a ton more videos coming out on lighting, shooting, everything like that. All right, I'll see you in the next video.